So there's this common misconception about how reliant the US really is on China with regard to manufacturing, and it's perpetuated over and over again by various mainstream media outlets with them saying that China controls the US through its manufacturing, and that's flat out not true. In fact, as a percent of GDP, total US GDP, China only contributes 2.5% of the GDP with trade. That means that there's 97.5% of our GDP comes from other places. In fact, China's not even our top trading partner, with Canada and Mexico actually being a larger trading partner than China. The interesting thing about Chinese manufacturing, though, is it requires a huge amount of inputs that come from the United States. They just assemble things and then slap "made in China" on it. Sure, they make low-end trinkets and textiles and things of that nature, but when it comes to high-end things, not only is the equipment to manufacture it usually made in the US, Japan, or Europe, or South Korea, but the components to assemble these items are made in the US, Japan, South Korea, or Europe, and other places, Taiwan included. So the reality is China is a lot more reliant on the US economy than the US is reliant on China. Sure, we would take a hit, but in general, we would recover really quickly, whereas losing the US as a trading partner would be devastating for China. And they know this. It's why they hold massive reserves of dollars, and why the US holds virtually zero reserves of yuan. They need to trade with us. It's why the Chinese peg their currency to the dollar unofficially in a band to maintain a lower level than the dollar, so that they get favorable export conditions, so that they can trade with the US cheaper than the US trades with China. So the bottom line is for the most part, the US doesn't need China with regard to trade. We like having China because the labor costs are lower, but even that is going away, because as a country modernizes, their labor costs tend to rise. And you couple those rising labor costs in China, which are some of the fastest growing in the world, with the logistics cost of transporting goods from China, many companies within the US and the US itself are pivoting away from China to places like Mexico and South America, because it's just cheaper logistically, and the labor costs are roughly the same at this point. So you're seeing countries retool to South America away from China. And China realizes this, and they're kind of scrambling to get new deals for Chinese companies, which is why there's two sets of what is going on. You have the military rhetoric and the bluster there, and then you have the economic aspect of it. Economic is absolutely the more important of the two, but the military bluster is what China sells to its people because it builds a sense of national pride. No one wants to talk dollars and cents in a national pride type way of thinking in China. So that's basically it.